What an amazing feeling this morning to go back for the first time to our Bet Knesset and be able to pray with the minyan. זה היום עשה השם נגילה ונשמחה בו. And this simcha, this satisfaction, is unfortunately mixed up with a feeling of, again, it seemed just a few days ago that we were reopening our businesses, our back would go back to a new normal, like they call it. And yet, we can't go out, not because of the pandemic, but because of the protest, riots, the violence in the streets. There is a curfew after 8 p.m. every day now. So we are again stuck at home. And we can definitely blame the type of leadership here, at least in New York City, that we have. Mayor de Blasio was attacked from so many places, and we are definitely blaming him for the lack of leadership that he showed, the lack of courage, how from the beginning of the pandemic he did not close the schools on time, from the lack of communication between him and the governor, the lack of dignity when his own daughter is being arrested, the lack of authority when he's not giving the police enough means and resources and the green light to react properly to this violence. And of course, the lack of common sense, where people are not keeping their distance. So the pandemic is over, and yet for shuls and places of worship, we still have to obey the regulations. So yes, there is definitely a lack of leadership. There is a problem on the higher rank of the way to deal with the situation. And yes, probably have received this petition to impeach the mayor, and you want to show how upset you are. And there is also the other side. There is the Torah side. When in Pirkei Avot it says, "Bimkom she'en ish, hishtadel liot ish." When there is no man, then you be that man. When there is no leadership, then you be that leader. And the following message that I want to share with you is especially for the people of New York City. Why? Because I want you to think for a minute. We had a pandemic almost 3 months ago that started in China. And out of any other city in the world, New York was the place that we were the most vulnerable. And once again, after these riots, George Floyd is killed in Minneapolis. Which city in the United States has the most violence? Again, New York City. So there is something going on. And we all know that New York City happens to be the area that we have most Yehudim, most Jews. So there is definitely here a message from Borei Olam. And I invite you to look in the Parashat that we are Be'ezrat Hashem reading this week in the Bet Knesset Be'ezrat Hashem. Parashat Nasso, the longest parasha of the Torah. What is the meaning, the translation of the word Nasso? What is Nasso? And we find two meanings to Nasso. The first one means to elevate, to lift up. Milashon Ram Venisa, high. And the second meaning is Laset, to carry, to be high and to carry. And interestingly enough, the parasha does relate to both concepts, because we talk about carrying the Mishkan vessels. The Shevet Levi had to carry those. And this very Shevet, the tribe of Levi, was also in charge of the Mishkan and counted separately by themselves by Borei Olam after everybody else in the Eda was counted. So we talk about the fact that they were carrying objects and about the fact that they were more elevated, they were separated, they were seen in a way that they were above everybody else. Is there any connection between those two, carrying and to be higher? You might say yes, because when I carry something, then I usually have to carry it on my shoulders, on top of me. But that's not always the case. You could carry something and have it lower. So it's interesting that even in English, just like in Hebrew, the verb carrying doesn't always apply to items that we carry. Carrying also has to do with responsibilities. And this is, when we talk about leaders, this is the words, this is the verb that we would use. To carry a responsibility is what defines you to be a leader, to be a good leader. And this is why in the Lashon HaKodesh in Hebrew, a leader is called a Nasi, Parashat HaNesi'im. Their rank is above everybody else because they are carrying more responsibilities and they have to constantly, on a daily basis, make sure that they stand the standards, the position, and the image that they are as role models for the rest of the Eda. They have to continuously prove themselves that they are worthy of that rank. This is why the Nasi, the one elevated, has to also be Noseh, has to carry on the responsibility that comes together with the job. And that, my friends, is the beauty of our religion, Yahadut. Because we don't pretend that we are all the same, just like in the broken system of democracy, where everybody is the same. We are not the same. In Yahadut, in Judaism, there is Kohen, there is Levi, and there is Israel. I cannot decide to do Birkat Kohanim. A Kohen cannot decide to marry a lady who is divorcee. We all have different levels. But you know what? The same way that the Kohen is higher than me, the Kohen has also to carry more responsibilities. The Kohen has more restrictions when it comes to marriage laws, when it comes to death laws. All that apply to him and not to me, because he is higher, but he also has to carry more obligations and more responsibilities. And you know what? This is exactly what the message was when we talk about the Leviim carrying the Aron. Everybody knows that there was a miracle. When they carried the Aron HaKodesh, the holy ark that had the Torah inside, Aron noseh et nosav. The Aron, the ark, the holy ark, was carrying the carriers. So let me ask you, if the Aron was carrying them, why did they have to carry it in the first place? And the answer is, because the Aron will carry you, will lift you up only if you are ready to carry it. If you accept the Torah, if you are ready to take upon yourself the responsibilities that come together with that position, then you are worthy to be elevated. You carry, you are lifted up. This is how those two dimensions connect in one word, Nasso. And what a strong message. What a strong message. As I've seen yesterday, something absolutely obscene. I don't know even how to explain that. There is this new religion out there where white people have to excuse, apologize on their knees for being white. And I don't want to go through the whole video that I've watched, but there is one message that I see: that humiliation. The way they think they are going to break this racism, the crisis that we have in this country, is by lowering themselves on their knees. And us, Rabotai, we are doing exactly the opposite. Because what we need is not to go down. What we need is to rise above. This is now an opportunity for Kiddush Hashem. Our job is not to lower ourselves. Our job is to be the leaders, true leaders, by being above, by rising atop, by carrying the responsibilities that we need to have as leaders, because we are role models. That's who we are. And there is no coincidence that we left the Batei Knesiot on Parashat Ki Tisa. Here in America, at least, Ki Tisa was the last Shabbat. I came to shul and I saw the ad of the schedule, Parashat Ki Tisa. And when are we coming back? Parashat Nasso. Unbelievable. Is it a coincidence? I think it's a sign from Borei Olam. We left from Ki Tisa. Ki Tisa also means to elevate. We go back in Nasso. Again, elevate. Hashem is calling us. Rise above. Be better. Grow. Progress. Don't go back to your old life. Go forward. Do something special. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be reopened. We should be blessed with all the berachot, yeshuot that we need for ourselves, our families, our community, Am Israel, and the world at large. Amen. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Shabbat Shalom Umborach.